right, so we are live and we are going to be talking about some breathing warm-ups today. Step 2 out of my 5-step warm-up. Bear with me as I kind of adjust the camera here. If you're leaving any comments and I answer, I apologize. I'm kind of stepping back away from my phone for a few minutes here just to have you guys be able to see everything that I'm doing. As you can tell from the background, I am still at school, just trying to finish this up. You might also hear the orchestra rehearsing because they rehearse next door. So, like I said, Brooke from Lessons by Brooke here. I'm going to be talking about the second step in my 5-step warm-up process, which is breathing. The first step was posture, and you can go over to catch.me/BrookePerlman for the link to that scope if you want to know kind of the process in order. It's posture and breathing, and you'll have to stay tuned for the following 3 steps over the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. You saw my cute little snowman note page that has some of the notes that I want to talk about on it. So first thing I want to say before I step away and show you some exercises, breathing is important for singing almost as much as tone production. If you think about it, your air is here and your sound kind of rides on that air, so it allows you to move your sound, it allows you to project your sound, it allows you to produce your sound. Your air is the foundation of everything that you do in singing. So breathing is so important, and having control over your breath is so important, and that's something that we don't really think about. As human beings, we just breathe. It's something that happens naturally. It's like you blink your eyes, you breathe, that kind of stuff. It's not a habit that we have to form. It's not something we necessarily have to learn. So it's something that we don't always think about as just existing human beings. And that's kind of another reason why singing is so difficult. We don't have buttons to push like an instrument, and we have to think about all of these processes that our body goes through just by themselves on a natural basis. We have to kind of think about them in a different way. So breathing is extremely important for singing, and you want to think about when you breathe in, you are inhaling, and that's when you're the fullest. So some people backwards breathe, and when they inhale, they actually get like skinny, and when they exhale, they get fat. And I'll show you kind of what that looks like. I'm going to try my best. I'll step kind of away from the camera here and point it down for a second just so you can kind of see. We're a little crooked. Sorry. Periscoping from a piano, everybody. So, I'll take off my sweater. From the side, you can see this is my belly, my waist area. And when I take a breath in, it expands. Big, fat, pregnant breath. I always have to tell the girls, like, you can't suck in and be a singer. It doesn't really work. You get these big, fat breaths all the way down to the deep, dark parts of your lungs. And then when you exhale, you can get skinny again. So that's kind of what I mean by the fat breath, skinny breath. Inhale and exhale. So that's kind of the first concept that you have to get going. And some people, like I said, backwards breathe, and I don't even know how to show that. It's just something that they do. This is a great way to breathe for athletes as well. If you think about it, when you're inhaling all the way down into your lungs and you're thinking about breathing low and slow, or just drinking in the air versus breathing in and creating a lot of tension up here in this area where your lungs don't even exist up there. But the more tension that you have, the less air you're actually getting in. So I kind of differentiate with my students between drinking in the air and taking a surprise breath. A surprise breath is what you don't want for singing. A surprise breath looks like this. I noticed my shoulders raised, there was a noise that came out, my chest kind of puffed out, and again, this is not where your lungs are, right? Your lungs ride a little bit lower. This is kind of where they live. So if you are taking big surprise breaths, you're not pulling that air all the way down to where it needs to go. Your body knows what to do, kind of like we said before. It's a natural process. So if you open your mouth, you're going to take air in. For me, when you're singing, arms are at your side, chest is just open, not anything crazy in back or hunch, anything like that. And if you just take a nice deep breath in, you open your mouth, and then you drink in that air, the air will naturally fall in, and you can kind of practice controlling that after you learn how it feels to really take a nice full breath. So I'm going to exhale and inhale and it all went down right into here. And if I turn to the side, you'll see I've got this big fat belly right now, and I'll exhale, then it all sucks away, it all goes away. So you can kind of practice just drinking in that air, and it'll happen naturally. No surprise breaths, drink it in. That's my next little point to make there. A couple of my favorite breathing warm-ups, I have two that I use on almost a daily basis with my choir and with my vocalists. The first thing that I like to do is take what's called a bubble breath. So if you think about your lungs, when they expand, breathe in, as you hold your breath, you actually kind of lose some of that air. So if you breathe in all the way to the deep, dark parts of your lungs, and then you hold it, kind of shrink down a little bit, you lose some of that air, you can inhale again to kind of fill up and stretch those lungs out. Some people notice that there's kind of like almost a burning sensation, or you can kind of feel that organ kind of stretching. That's okay as long as you don't feel like you're gonna faint. So another most important thing about breathing is don't faint. Make sure that you're bending your knees and that you're taking time in between these exercises to take normal breaths. So the first thing that I'm gonna do for a bubble breath is exhale. Second thing I'm gonna do is inhale until I'm full. So my lungs are all the way full. Third thing I'm gonna do is hold the air. Hold it in. And then I'm gonna breathe in again. Suck in an extra little breath, hold it, and then I can release it. So I'll show you that process right now. It looks like this. And you can repeat that a couple of times. The next exercise that is my favorite is a hiss and a pulsing hiss. So I have my students exhale all of their air out, inhale for 4, hold for 4, and then we hiss out, and we can hiss for 20, 24, whatever a musical phrase looks like. It depends on the age of the singers, honestly. And what this teaches you is how to budget your air. So if you inhale, hold it, and then have to hiss it out for 20 beats, you want all of that air gone in 20 beats. If you have 24, you want it all gone in 24. So you have to kind of know how to pace your air coming out of your mouth. It looks like this. Exhale, in, hold, so that was around 20 beats, and you could do the same thing for, like I said, however long your phrasing needs to be. Now, as a pulsing exercise, it's really, really great for working those abdominals, working the diaphragm, because the diaphragm is really, it's a muscle that lies at the bottom of your lungs, and it's kind of a one-way street. So if this is a lung, this is your diaphragm, it sits right underneath it. When you inhale, it's depressed, and then when you exhale, it floats back up. It only knows how to go one way. So it can't move by itself. Your lungs have to help it move. And when we're using all of our abdominal muscles, our intercostal muscles, to breathe, it really, really is a diaphragmatic breath. That is the true definition of a great breath for singing, is when you can go all the way down deep, deep, deep to the dark parts of your lungs, like I like to say, and depress that diaphragm. That is like money right there. You can sing phrases with dynamics, with inflection that you never were able to sing before because you were so busy taking in so many breaths. So we'll breathe all the way down, hold it for 4 again, and then we'll hiss it out. And as we pulse, you'll notice my hand moving. I like to keep a hand on my belly for this, or on my abs. So I have a hand here. You can also have a hand here. I'll show both right now, just because it's fun. So you exhale all of your air out, in for 4, hold for 4, and then I'm gonna hiss. And then I just release the rest of that air, and you can have your students pulse for as much as you need them to, or you can pulse for as much as you need to in order to feel like you're really, really getting a good workout. Your abs might actually be a little bit sore afterwards. I asked my junior high kids today how they felt after we did that exercise, and they were like, I'm sore. So it's kind of fun one to do. The last thing that I like to end my breathing warm-ups with is a little bit of relaxation. So the last thing you'll see me do today is something that kind of sets your intention for your rehearsal or for your performance or for whatever you're doing. It's kind of like meditative breathing, and it just helps you get control over your mind, over your body, over your focus, and it gives you your lungs sometimes to kind of reacclimate after doing some of those exercises. So it is exhaling for 8 counts, inhaling for 4 counts, holding it for 8 counts, and then repeating that process. So exhale for 8, in for 4, hold for 8, out for 8, in for 4, hold for 8, out for 8, etc. So I'll show you right now, and I'll keep a steady beat with my finger so you can hear the clicks. I'll exhale first. And I kind of have them breathe in through whatever's comfortable, whether it's their mouth or their nose for that one, because I notice that students sometimes are breathing in through both. For singing, it's obviously better to breathe in through your mouth because there's more opening, more room for the air to come in. But if you breathe in through your nose in between words or in between phrases of a song, it's not that big of a deal, at least in my opinion. So that little meditative breathing is good for them, and the students kind of get in the mode of that, and as they're doing it, they can count for themselves, and I can kind of set their intention for the day, or set my own intention for the day, and think through what I want to do, what I want the rehearsal to look like, how I want my audition to go if you're breathing for an audition. So thanks for the hearts. I don't even know who they're from because nothing is popping up on my screen. I don't know if there's even anybody here. It didn't give me any notification and no comments, nothing. So when I go back and watch this on the rebroadcast, if you guys have any questions, I'll try to find you elsewhere and either tweet at you or something like that. So I apologize if I'm not seeing any comments from anybody right now, but that's it. So that's my breathing scope. The next scope is going to be step 3 out of 5, and I'll try to do that either sometime this weekend or early next week. This week totally got away from me. So thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to scoping with you soon.